right, welcome. Thank you for tuning into LaMay Day Limelight. This is episode 10.
10.
What?
Something special about that number this episode.
10 is a great number. You know what else is a great number?
What?
30.
I love number 30.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago did you like?
That's neither here nor there. But I think 30 is a great number.
So I am 30 by the time we all are watching this episode. LaMay Day, the official LaMay Day is May 1st, and I am in Spain right now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
We're here.
So 30 is a great number. So, I mean, yeah, how do I feel turning 30? Thank you for asking. I honestly felt as though maybe I would be in a different point in my life by the time I turned 30, but I will say that I'm proud of myself.
You better be.
And yeah, you know,
I'm on your show.
I've got my great co-host, so my life is set.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just, 30 is one of those interesting ages, I think, and me coming into it, I'm anxious to say the least, but I think I'm at peace with it finally. The closer I've gotten to it, I've kind of chilled out and relaxed. And so
I love my 30s. I embraced them full on. When I turned 30, it was amazing. I was like, I like these. I like these years.
Yeah,
they feel nicer.
They say 30 is the new 20. Who said
I wasn't
that?
happy at 20. I'm happier at 30 than I was at 20.
Right.
Yes, I'm welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So in commemoration of me turning 30, I actually woke up one day and had this random idea to highlight different years in my life and do a photo shoot, so to speak, but I wanted to recreate special moments that I've had throughout my life. So I've been working on it, and I just wanted to share that with the world, and thank you for everyone who's been there for me and helped me along this journey. So make sure you guys check that out, and if you have any tips for me as a new 30-year-old,
she's gonna be all right.
I think I'm gonna be okay. I think I'll be all right.
She's fine.
And I'm not one of those people that's gonna run around and say, "Oh, I'm still 21. I'm embracing it."
Yes.
Just live my life. My nephews went to prom, and I felt old. Speaking of prom,
yes.
so I don't know how many teenagers watch this or high schoolers watch this, but I was amazed at the fact that prom is like a thing in terms of social media, which to be expected, but they have the pre-prom photo shoots. And the culture behind prom is just completely different than what we've been experieing us growing up.
Yeah,
so you have photo shoots.
I'm being a hater right now because honestly, it's just gotten so
out of hand,
it's out of control. Like you had the one girl who showed up to prom in a casket because she was killing the game.
She was casket
I don't understand. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I thought you just got a dress, maybe spike some punch, and go dance. Like, no, now it's a mess.
It's a lot. It's a lot of creativity though. So kudos to some of y'all
all right, kids.
with the creativity.
Yes.
I know one year I had an issue with a young lady who wore. Her heart was in the right place, but she wore a dress with with Trayvon Martin's face on it.
I saw that.
And a lot of the victims of police brutality. So I mean, are we doing it for the gram, or are we really doing it, for social commentary?
Right.
I didn't have Instagram in high school.
Right. No,
so it's a different thing. So educate us. Let us know, high schoolers or people who are probably, fresh out. Let us know, what are we supposed to be looking for with these high school kids? And should we just celebrate it? Is it okay?
Or not.
or no.
Or no. I don't know.
But I'm not old. We 30 out here, and yay to the 30s. That's just what it is. We trying to be in the know with the youngsters. So this man bun.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of,
I wanted to look cool.
Really?
Did it work?
I like it. I dig
it. I was like, that's with our next guest. I mean,
okay.
Jerris Madison. I mean, editor-in-chief of Obvious Magazine.
Right.
I mean, I love Obvious Magazine. I've collaborated with them. I've contributed.
Right. We love Obvious Mag.
And he definitely has a big fashion platform with his thing. So I was like, let me, try to do a little something.
I put my little hat on today. I had to be, cute. I wanted to represent. So, and 10, this is our 10th episode. He's celebrating 10 years of Obvious Mag. So definitely a good theme for his interview. I'm excited to speak with him.
Yeah. So let's get right into that.
Come on, Jerris.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely excited to have our next guest here, Mr. Jerris Madison, influencer and editor-in-chief of Obvious Magazine.
Yes.
Hey, what's up, Jerris?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
It's honestly an honor. I mean, I've known you for years, but every time that we get to collaborate or do something, like I'm always just so pleased because I look up to this man. Like because of Jerris, like I got into media. Like, he had a big inspiration in that for me. So
thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you, no problem. Thank you so much.
Yes, and just to start it off, I just want to congratulate you on the 10-year anniversary of Obvious Mag. I've been following your movement forever, and just a positive ray of light always coming into my screen. So I love that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the history of Obvious and what the 10-year anniversary means.
Yes.
Oh, man. Obvious started actually out of sarcasm because I was working with another magazine called Crave, which is out of Dallas, which is still going on. And I worked there for about 3 years because when I started working there, I was living in Atlanta, and then eventually I moved to LA. And we bumped heads. We had creative differences. And I was like, I'm out. I gotta quit. And so I remember getting a sheet of paper, and I had wrote down like 20 magazine titles, and I Googled them. They were all taken. And I was like, dang. And so at the time, I had a company called It's Obvious Inc. And for some reason, I wrote it on a piece of paper. I don't know why. And my phone rang, and I ran to get the phone because it was in the kitchen, and I tripped over the desk or whatever. And when I came back, something covered up the It's and something covered up the ink, and the word Obvious was showing. So when I talked to my friend on the phone, I was like, what do you think about a magazine called Obvious? And she was like, it's obvious, you should name it that. And immediately I Googled it, and it was available. And I was like, okay, it's gonna be called Obvious. And so that's how Obvious got started. Yeah.
So what was your overall intention with it then?
Well, when I was working with Crave, Crave was very much sold on, just the male demographic, African American. And I knew like my vision for what I wanted inclusion. So I knew I wanted to include Black culture, but I felt like there was a missing element in publications because they tend to be very niche. And so I wanted to create a magazine where everybody can kind of, get an idea of what, Black people like and Indian people like and Asian people. And so I started that, and I also wanted to include, because men would hit me up and say, I'm trying to find out what I want to buy for my girl. And then women was like, I'm trying to find out what to buy with my man. So I was like, why don't I just create a publication where I include both sexes? And everybody told me not to do it. And then there was one magazine, which they're still doing it, was Complex. Complex does a flip version. So part of it is male, and then you flip it over, and then they combine it. So I kind of like Complex was an inspiration for me to just do it, and I'm glad I stuck with my guns.
That's awesome.
Definitely. I mean, I would say that Obvious has now a pretty big international appeal. It crosses lines in that regard. Like, it's not just American driven. I think there's people, you have audiences in Europe and in Africa and South America that really impressive.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I'm so anti-celebrity, and I don't know what happened this year. Like good things. This has been a really good year for us, and so now when I'm walking out, people, like when I went to New York for Fashion Week, they were like, "Are you Jerris?" And I'm always like,
Who are you?
Okay, who are you?
Who are you?
Because you never know. You never know what you put online, and I don't put stuff out to offend people, but you never know. So I'm a little bit like reserved, and I'm like, it's like, oh my God, I follow you, and I didn't know you were that tall. I don't know why people keep thinking I'm like 5 feet tall.
Because a lot of people in the industry are short.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I look tall in my photos.
You do.
So I don't know why people keep thinking I'm like 5 feet tall.
They just want to spark up a conversation.
Maybe that's it.
That's all that is.
Maybe that's
I gotta
it.
talk to
Right. To draw up some conversation. So it's been really humbling because I have such a great support system with my great friends, and they'll find things like you know, hey, they're looking for this amputee, or they're looking to do this or whatever. And that's how I ended up getting signed recently with Aqua Talent here in LA. A friend of mine saw casting on one of those casting sites and was like, hey, you should submit to this. And I was like, I ain't never done that. All I do is take photos, you know, for people. And next thing I know, I went, and 2 days later they called me and told me that they picked me.
Wow.
And I cried. I literally cried because, you know, 4 years ago when I lost my leg to bone cancer, I would have never thought my life would be where it is today. Wow. And Obvious, thank God Obvious was there, because I didn't have a, you know, like a support system with, you know, amputees. Because, you know, like with women with breast cancer, you know, you can go online or whatever, and amputees, I didn't know any. So Obvious would allow me to vent and to share. It was like an online journal. And I never thought that it would go viral.
Wow.
Like people was like, you saved my life, and then there were people who lost their legs in car accidents, and now I'm their guy. So in the process of it all, you're like, what, God, why is this all happening to me? But then you become a vessel.
You've
for
amplified
other people.
the platform.
Right.
For
so now
a whole audience that probably wouldn't even think of.
Yeah, and it's humbling, because I feel like I've humanized amputees, because sometimes you'll see me without my leg on, sometimes you'll see it with, you know, a decorative cover, and, you know, people walk up to me and they're like, I thought that was like a soccer sock, you know, long sock, and I'm like, no, this is a cover. And sometimes at night when I get creative, it lights up. And that gets interesting.
Right.
Yeah, because I live in WeHo, and
So
it's,
so you've made it work for you. It's become an accessory for you.
Yeah, it's an accessory to me. It's just part of who I am.
Right.
You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
And shout out to your friends. Oh, you got some dope friends.
I do. I have. You know, like a lot of times we complain, but I tell people, if you just really look at things as in a whole, we complain about way too much stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd say, look, if you need something, there's Google, or there's someone that's in your phone that can bring you one step closer to your dreams becoming a reality. Right. So my complaint level, I get tired sometimes, but my complaint level is like extremely low after almost dying, you know, so I don't take anything for granted.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. That's, I mean, wow.
I know, what do you say to that?
I know, it's like, I mean, I knew about his story, but just like hearing it like that, like it's just really, it's even more inspiring.
Yeah.
So, I mean, continue to spread that message, to tell that story.
Thank you.
Because,
and that's what we're all about.
Yeah,
exactly.
I tell people, I said, you know, we complain about, you know, our hips being too big or our nose being too big. And then I travel the world and you see people who wish they had just a fraction of what we have in America. Right. So I don't complain. I don't have complainers around me. I purged a lot of people. You learn a whole lot about people when you go through something as traumatic as that, and you find out who your friends are.
Wow. So I want to talk about this clothing line you're about to start.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting because even before I lost my leg, people were like, oh, we love your mind, we love to collaborate. But I'm real anal about stuff. Like if someone sends me like a flyer and it's pixelated or typos, like, that means you don't give a crap about your brand. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And so and that's why I love what you do, because like your stuff be on point.
Thank you.
The colors, and we've had conversations about you before.
Oh,
and I was like, just the colors and the fonts, and I was like, and then we found out it was both on Canva. And he was like,
shout out to Canva. Shout out to Canva.
Canva is like crack.
Y'all didn't know about it.
Right. So Canva is like life.
Right.
And so I had a brand that was like, oh my God, we love what you do, because I did an editorial with this particular brand. And so, I don't know, I was like, I would just love to collaborate with them. And then, long story short, they agreed to it, we met up. So I'm not only just doing a collaboration with them that we're doing with Obvious, but the Jerris Madison brand is completely different from Obvious. Wow. So I'm doing a separate line just for me. and I'm loving it. It's hard.
And what are you hoping this line puts out for
the
public?
word that I'm looking for with this line, I came up with split personality.
Okay.
And so, because we all have split personalities. Like there's some days we're high and sometimes we don't feel like talking to people. So I'm inspired by sarcasm and patterns.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Okay, that's for now.
Is it men's? Is it women's? Is it both?
It's going to be mainly men, but it's going to be a couple of women pieces in there or whatnot. And very kind of athleisure, you know, comfortable. And I think people will appreciate it.
Can't wait to see that on the runway. Are you going to be modeling it as well?
I think I am.
Okay.
I was talking to a friend. I have a friend who's going to shoot it. Okay. And I was like, I want to do some with my prosthetic and some without, because you don't see that. So to push a major, I mean, I'm not major yet, because you got to claim it.
Major, you got to claim it.
But, you know, I want people to be able to relate to me. It was like, I've never seen an ad campaign with a guy with no leg. And it's on my own terms. And then my friend who's shooting it, I know we're going to kill it. Reasons why I felt it was important that I do this show, because I love people living in their truth and their dreams and just doing their thing, and I like your brand, you guys branding off the cuff. And we don't, you know, we don't congratulate each other enough as Black folk. You know, so I'm a big advocate of making sure that I make myself a part of people that are starting to do their things in the beginning, or people who have longevity. We have to unify each other as Black culture, because we all we have.
Absolutely.
We all we have.
That's true. Dropping gems. You're dropping the gems.
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Oh, man. So for the 10-year anniversary of Obvious, you're going to do a big celebration in New York.
Yes.
Tell our fans, our audience, if anybody's watching in New York, check this out. Okay,
so I was sitting there and I was like, how can I just really just take it to a whole nother level? So I was like, you know what, we're going to do, celebrating our 10-year anniversary, I wanted to do 10 different covers.
Wow.
So the covers represent, and I love Ava DuVernay. If you've seen this, Ava, I love you.
Ava.
She did the interview with the Breakfast Club. The word that she said that she loved was inclusion.
Okay.
Because I like that word because it includes, you know, everybody.
Right.
So I decided to do it in New York because New York is where I lost my leg, and that's where I feel connected with, and I've lived there. And New Yorkers come out. They don't hit you up and like, who all there? Like New Yorkers like, okay, where the party at? We're coming to celebrate. And so I felt like New York, and it's a fashion city, you know, though I love LA, but New York is the fashion capital of the United States. So I felt it would be a great backdrop for that. And people are already, like, even the little teaser promos that we're doing, they're like, okay, I want to wear the tickets. So that makes me very happy that we've created a brand that people respect. And we keep it like very, very low key. Like we're not trying to, I mean, in the beginning I tried to be Vogue and GQ. And I was like, I can do Obvious very, very well. So, you know, anybody that's doing anything, I always tell them, just do what you love, do it on your own terms, and not try to copy everybody else. And that's what this, you know, event means a lot to me, especially losing my leg to bone cancer and being 10 years, like magazines are not.
Yeah, no.
The
they're not doing
longevity,
that.
That's key.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for blessing us with your light and your energy and those gems that he dropped. But thank you so much for being
welcome.
here. And where can everyone find you if they want to learn more about the magazine?
You can find the magazine at www.obviousmag.com. And then you can find us on Instagram at Obvious Mag, and on Facebook at Obvious Mag as well.
All right, just Google Obvious Mag. It's gonna pop up, honestly. He's everywhere.
It's number one.
Number one, the only. All right.
The only.
Well, thank you again so much for being here with us, and thank you to my co-host Josh. We always, and I am Sharíck LaMay. Make sure you're following at LaMay Day Limelight. Make sure you are just enjoying all of this and commenting. And if you have questions, let us know as well, or anybody you want us to talk to, we're more than welcome. And we just
we're out.
I just love Jerris. I'm at a loss for words because so good, so much goodness coming out of you. But that's it, everybody. Lights out.